Howdy, soldiers. I just bought these rainbow earrings, which, don't get me wrong, I love a glittery, obnoxiously long dangly earring, but there's no orange in this rainbow, so we have to represent a different way. I look like I got into a fight with a tropical macaw, and honestly, I'm not mad at it. Has this ever happened to you? Hey besties, happy Pride Month. I know all of you are here because you want a Pride recommendation, so I would highly recommend that you pick up The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller or Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. I'm recommending these two books because I have no idea that other queer books exist, just like queer people only exist in certain circumstances. Yes, I like both of these books, alright? Don't come for me. But my point remains, despite having good intentions, many of us in the queer community and outside the queer community tend to get in circles and cycles of recommending the same 10 books over and over again, which then leads to people thinking that there are limited numbers of queer books and that we all only like the same 5, which means that we are not giving enough love to indie authors, to backlist titles, or for books that fall slightly out of the current trend cycle. But you're in luck because I'm here today to tell you about 7 of my favorite queer books that I think deserve a lot more love on the internet. I'm gonna have some that are adult, some that are new adult, and some that are purely adult because I read all of those. And unless you're a minor, all ages of queer media can be enjoyed by all ages, so hopefully you will find a book on this list that you enjoy. So without further ado, grab a drink, grab a snack, and buckle in as we talk about 7 books that I think deserve to be more hyped on the internet and introduced into the queer canon of book recommendations. Why did I choose 7? I don't know. Seemed like a nice number. One for every day of the week. This first one is slightly cheating, but this is my video and I can do whatever I want. This book just came out this month, so there hasn't been a ton of time for people to go crazy over it. That being said, I think that this deserves a lot more love than it's getting, because I haven't seen this anywhere on the internet, and that is a damn crime. Going Bi-Coastal by Dahlia Adler is the cutest, sweetest, feel-good bi-girl rom-com that I've read in a hot minute. Bicon of YA bi-girl romances, Dahlia Adler, has freaking done it again. So this is like a 2-in-1 deal, as we both get to see Natalia's life if she had chosen to stay in New York with her father and work for the summer and meet this cute girl that she's been meaning to talk to, or if she decides to visit her mother in LA for the summer and have a little flirtationship with the new intern at her mother's company and reconnect with the side of her family. I loved reading Natalia. She is such a strong character, and I love that in both timelines we get to see vaguely the same plot points, but we get to see her react to them in slightly different ways. We get to see her bopping around with a new queer girlfriend group when she is in New York with her father, but we also get to see her melting into this beautiful, like, cooking family of home chefs in the LA perspective. Also incredible Jewish representation, especially like practicing Judaism in the modern world and doing like Shabbat dinners, but doing takeout because she can't actually cook a traditional dinner, and discussing her queerness with both of her parents and then eventually both of her partners in either situation. This is a light conflict, feel-good book that I absolutely adored, and I can't wait to say more about it in my monthly wrap-up. If you've watched my videos for a little while, you probably will have already seen me hype this book to high hell, but I love this book so much, and it doesn't get the attention that it deserves, and you can pry this out of my cold, dead, winter, frosted hands before I stop recommending it. And that is The Midnight Girls by Alicia Dasinka. This is a sapphic YA Polish fantasy novel that features Marinka and Zozia, who are 2 rival witch apprentices who are both literally competing to win the heart of a prince. But as their ambitions grow, so does their attraction, and they are fighting magically in a city that will do anything to protect its prince. Who doesn't love some rivals to lovers? Who doesn't love some sapphic witches? Who doesn't love some Eastern European folklore? If any of you try and disagree with me in that aspect, it will be like arguing with a wall. Marinka and Zozia play off each other so well. I love how they're trying to sabotage one another, yet are also like flirty at the same time. Alicia's world building is also so good. I love the lore of all 3 of these witches, and then I love a good winter court. And the prince character also really surprised me. I thought he was going to be quite passive, but like every character in this book has a vendetta, and it's so fun just watching all of it crumble or come together or freeze over or get set on fire. It's fun, it's flirty, it's cool fantasy. It also has some surprisingly dark magic in there. Just saying, you want to be on the good side of this dynamic duo, and you'll be on my good side if you like this book, so something to think about. Now, like, I don't know if you can tell this about me, but like, I kind of like tattoos. You know, it's like something that like not a lot of people notice about me when they first see me. I just have like a couple or whatever. Oh, that reminds me, I have to do an updated tattoo tour video soon. Oh my god, maybe July. But if you, like me, like dark magic, tattoos, and queer people, may I highly recommend the very unique YA book that is Ink in the Blood by Kim Smakul. Celia and Anya are both a type of religious apprentice called Inklings, where they have the power to magically tattoo people with the will of their divine deity. But when they find out a dark corruption in their church, they both escape and join the Rabble, which is a traveling circus. But as they're using their magic to perform with the Rabble mob, it turns out that the divinity is actually real and is not happy with them for leaving the church. It's a super cool book about faith and dark magic and the utter dramatics of theater folk. This is a Venetian-inspired fantasy world, but what really makes this society cool is the way that they look at gender and sexuality. Some people can see auras, and like your aura will tell that person what your gender identity is, and it can change based on if your identity changes. They use a lot of pronoun-adjacent honorifics that aren't necessarily tied to gender. It's also not uncommon in this world to show physically different types of gender expression, and people kind of tend to mix and match fashion and honorifics and names and nicknames. It's really, really cool. And thankfully, I'm not a gay with religious trauma, but oh my god, there is some super cool depictions in here of gods and divinities and like worshipping false idols and like tapping into corrupted underworld magic. So if you want a dark magic, traveling circus troupe, Venetian queer novel with tattoo magic and dark gods, I heavily recommend this book. Also a Canadian author who actually lives very close to me, so Canada gays, Canada allies, you know, you want to pick this up? Let's go. Let's all make our own magical traveling gay circus troupe. The last YA on this list is a little queerly creepy. It's a little sapphically sinister. If you want a sapphic supernatural dark academia with rivals to lovers and an ancient god making deals in the school basement that's also honestly just gross, I would highly recommend My Dearest Darkest by Kayla Cottingham. Yet another book that is no secret that I love, yet I would actually recommend you not make deals with demons, because even though I love a fucked up deer, I personally would like to keep all of my fingernails intact. Just as Finch is entering the prestigious Ulalume Academy on a musical scholarship, she gets into a car accident where her parents die, but she is offered a deal by a mysterious voice. When she gets to the academy, she meets and becomes involved with Selena St. Clair, and the two of them, along with some of Selena's friends, end up accidentally summoning a dark being who lives in the basement of their school, which, I get it, it happens sometimes, but this mysterious being of immense power keeps offering the girls of the academy small favors in exchange for bigger and more disturbing prices. Thematically haunting and unsettling, and it just gets creepier and creepier as the book goes on. Finch was cool because obviously she's like being haunted by something, but I really liked Selena in particular because she's the typical mean girl with the clique of friends, but she's slowly unraveling too, and we get to see like the power structures that are then broken apart and challenged because of this new dark being and also Finch. TikTok loses its mind over every new book that comes out. I am no exception. Yet I didn't see this on the internet. And what's up with that, TikTok, huh? All of you love people wearing plaid and like making deals with dark entities. So take some notes and pick this book up. So I'm realizing now that there is more of an imbalance of these books than I thought, because it turns out that 5 of the 7 books that I'm talking about have sapphic or more femme-leaning main characters. So, my bad. The last 2 books do have queer male characters in them. So to wrap up the sapphic portion of this book, I also mentioned this book in my last video where we talked about my 8 top favorite sapphic books. Maybe I should have made this 8, and then it's too late now. As you can see, we're workshopping on the go. This super cool, super sapphic sci-fi has a fully queer women-loving women crew, along with some other sapphic folks, some trans ladies, and some men who were there. And this is one of my favorite books of all time. It is Seven Devils by Lori Lamb and Elizabeth May. This is another book that I will not shut up about, and guess what? I'm still not gonna shut up about it until you freaking pick it up and read it. Hey, at least it's this. I could be that person that's like, you haven't lived until you've read Catcher in the Rye. And this is an action-packed space opera full of horrible people making poor decisions. Eris is the heiress of a galactic space empire where there's like mind control and people are being grown in vats, and we're trying to sabotage peace summits. Like, this is not a good galactic empire to be heir to. So she faked her own death and joined the rebellion, where she is now butting heads with co-pilot Chloe. But when the two of them get sent on a super secret mission, there turns out to be some stowaways in their ship that can offer some insights into what's really going on in this galactic empire. Their abilities are pushed to the limit as they're trying to protect a peace summit, but also protect their hearts from one another. Amazing found family dynamics and great depictions of women's friendship, the lengths that desperate people will go to, and then women taking back back their power from abusers. Watching this cold-hearted, ruthless heiress slowly begin to trust is really wonderful, and like, I would die for Ariadne. She's the sweetest little cinnamon roll, and I love her. Rhea is so beautiful, yet so conniving, and I'm like, girl, hey, this is a bleak, gritty sci-fi world that keeps you on your toes, has so much action and adventure, yet also political machinations, and I love some political machinations. If this queer new adult sci-fi is not on your radar, consider it radared. Second to last is a very different book than that previous one. It's incredibly sweet, interpersonal, political heavy fantasy with MLM, no, not multi-level marketing, men loving men. Vel and Kay are two queer men who have my heart, and they both appear in A Strange and Stubborn Endurance by Foz Meadows. Our main character Vel is a minor noble set to marry the princess of an opposing kingdom, but when it comes out in a scandal that he likes men, the opposing kingdom just goes, oh yeah, okay, that's fine, and then just marries him off to their prince instead. So Kay is then suddenly betrothed to somebody that he's never met, and the two of them eventually meet and become friends and allies as their two societies look very differently upon same-sex marriage, are butting heads politically, and there are a couple of assassination attempts, which in my mind puts a damper on any type of engagement, political or otherwise. I love, love, love watching the progression of Kay and Vel's relationship, especially since Vel has like always had to suppress this part of himself, and now he's in a society where it's like open, and it's just like so wonderful to like see him come out of his shell and like accept for who he truly is. And Kay wanting to be a supportive partner, but then also maneuvering the politics of an arranged marriage within his own kingdom and with his own family. It's also a little spicy, but like in such an organic way. This is like the best 90-Day Fiancé scenario that I've ever seen. This is a sweeping romantic fantasy, but it does have some pretty deep and disturbing themes to it as well, including homophobia and self-harm and self-hatred. So I would check the content warnings for this book, but at the same time, I really respect that Foz Meadows put those in there and explored them in a way that didn't feel exploitative. And lastly, I've been hearing y'all want some gay vampire books. Vampires are no, what am I doing? Vampires are coming back. Vampires are coming back, and I am not mad at it, just like I am not mad at this sci-fi, fantasy, steampunk, gas lamp, vampire murder mystery book. That was the fan-freaking-tastic Silver Under Nightfall by Rin Chupeco. Remy is a human vampire hunter who, because of a scandal with his family, is kind of on the outskirts of society. But when it looks like a new type of vampire that might also be plague related is arising, he gets pulled along to help the shockingly warm-hearted vampire heiress Xiaodan and her infuriatingly handsome fiancé Zidane. And because Zidane is also a vampire scientist, all three of them are on a journey to discover where this new type of vampire is coming from, how it's spreading, and also revealing some of the rotted beneath of vampire society. As you can hear, super cool world building. I love the culture that this book has around vampires and like hierarchy within society of both vampire politics, but then also human politics and like how they mix mash together. And Remy being a human vampire hunter means he has the sickest weapons that like explode and like turn into 3 different things that have like chains and whips, and chains and whips excite me. Breaker is the coolest thing I've ever heard of. Xiaodan is also like a magical vampire, and like that is a whole other separate sect of vampire hierarchy and society, and the three of them slowly fall in love and start to have a poly power throuple, and Remy, I love that for you. Plus this mystery just keeps upping its own ante until at the very end I read the twist and then I had to put the book down and like take a lap because I was in distress. Also, I did save the spiciest for last because whew, damn girl, Remy's a lucky man. And with the sequel coming out in October, you're gonna want to start this now. And that is that on that. Those are 7 queer books that I don't think get enough love on here, God's green internet. Like, I'm only talking about traditionally published ones. There is a ridiculous amount to be found on the internet if you know how to look for it. I hope this sparks some interest in you to go out and discover new queer books that you're gonna fall in love with. And sure, we owe a lot to the books that are the pillars of the queer book community, like Red, White, and Royal Blue, like Song of Achilles. Like, these books got a lot of people into reading. But we also have to remember that those are good jumping off points. Those are not where you should stop in your queer reading journey. Please leave down below what you think are some underrated queer novels, because I would love to check them out. As you're watching this, this video should go up on Wednesday, so I'm currently in Montreal. I'm not even here. This is past Rachel talking to you right now. I'm visiting some friends in Montreal and Toronto, and I'm so excited, but I'm only going with a carry-on. which means that I have limited space to bring back books. That being said, I have asked them to take me to all their favorite bookstores, so I'm allowing myself to buy 1 book in Montreal and 1 book in Toronto. And they have to be queer because I'm only allowing myself to buy queer books in June. You know, leave your recommendations down below and we'll see which ones end up in my suitcase on the way home. You know where to click to like the video. You know where to click to subscribe. I hope you guys are all having a nice day wherever you are, and I will see you all next week. Bye!